Hey, welcome everybody to Rad Pod and Chill,
Hello.
COVID edition, part duh.
Yep.
As soon as I talk. I'm Heidi Kuda, and I'm here with my three mates, my three favorite pals. Hi-Fi, Jim, Sean. You know, this is Rad Pod and Chill, which is our midweek episode where we just like to chillax a bit, usually doing a recap of the previous episode where we have guests. But the previous episode where we would have had a guest, I had COVID, and even though I wanted to be a warrior,
Nope.
Sean Connor called me up and said, go back to bed. And I don't think I would have made it through the episode anyway because I was toast.
Yeah, it was bedtime.
Yeah, it was bedtime early in the morning on Sunday. But I just, first of all, want to thank you guys so much, for all your support, and then thank our viewers and my friends for all their support because COVID is a super scary thing to go through. It would be a lot worse if there wasn't just so much love out there and kind words and all that good stuff. And
3 vaccines.
oh yes, I'm triple Pfizer, triple faxed, and I could actually feel my body fighting back. I had a really gnarly few days. And for those who asked about symptoms, worst sore throat ever, worst cough. I still don't sleep because the cough wakes me up. Yeah. But I'm so grateful because my body basically said, we know what this is, and we're going to give it the double barrel. Fuck you.
And that's why you had a real bad sore throat. Your body's like, I know what you're doing. I'm going to fuck you up. And it's like, So, it's so unfortunate that experiences like yours get turned into, it doesn't matter if she got the vaccine. Well, she is not in the hospital. It
does.
If you didn't notice.
Thanks for not being on a ventilator. Appreciate it.
It would be much harder for you to do the show on a ventilator. I'm just saying.
I'm very grateful it happened when it did because I had enough of the vaccine coursing through my body to do battle. And I'm going to be first in line for 4th dose should it be a recommendation. But I'm also annoyed with my county because my county wants to, my county did get rid of the mask mandates. And for 2 years, I followed all the protocols. And the 1 week that I allowed my guard to go down because my county says it's safe, even though I'm seeing the numbers out of Europe, I get COVID. And I am not alone. Obviously, Hillary Clinton, get well soon. Our very good friend, Dr. Stephen Hassan, get well soon. The numbers are going up just like they have been in Europe, and I hope that everybody is able to fight it in the way that I'm fighting it and with as much love and support as I've seen. And the first thing I did back in February of 2020 was I studied the pandemic of 2018, and I found out that it just went away on its own after it arrived 3 years after the day it arrived. And so I've always had kind of a 3-year plan that, we can't will it away. It's going to do what it's going to do. Hi-Fi.
Hi-Fi.
So what you're referring to is the flu pandemic of 1918, which was misnomered as the Spanish flu, but actually started in Kansas with World War I troops returning and spreading the flu.
Yeah.
And what did they do? They wore masks.
Yeah.
And they opened windows. Modern architecture is terrible for airflow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hi-Fi is it's like having like a big Google teddy bear. Like, like you just say something and all of a sudden all these fucking facts come out of him.
See a little finger poke up in the air?
You know what I really
It's data.
love
It's data.
about our gurgle teddy bear is
Gurgle
that
teddy.
usually it comes with like the leaders of 7 different, obscure nations in Africa and the Baltic Seas. Like it's incredible. I'm actually really relieved that you do smoke as much weed as you do as part of your pain management, because I can only imagine how squirrely that brain would be if it was just like full freaking, freight train all day long. Anyway, we appreciate you.
I mean, yeah. I bathed in THC all fucking day long. There's no other way to,
Couldn't tell, dude.
To any
Well,
of our
right.
new friends,
Wait, what is that supposed to mean?
Oh, yeah, no. You guys have your medical scripts, right?
I don't need one. I'm in California, man.
Hell yes.
I could just go on the fucking web. I'd just be like, this
guys-
was on sale. Ooh, purple,
Texas,
cushy, Skittles, whatever the fuck. That sounds awesome.
What? Your Skittles?
172% THC.
Oh,
Right?
Get out of here, dude.
Oh
Texas
my
is
gosh.
terrible. We're in a terrible Texas. Aside from everything else.
Well, don't you have like Delta 8 down there or something?
Oh,
Some
dude, don't even
weird-
talk about Delta 8 bullshit.
Do you know
All right,
what's
all right.
amazing
What the fuck
about
is Delta
Texas?
It's some
It's what we smoke in Texas because we can. No, it's another cannabinoid receptor thing from the plant. Yeah, so it's not like real THC. So
I see.
All
So
I
like
know,
something you get in 7-Eleven kind of thing?
yes, yeah, they sell it in 7-Eleven. Well, yeah. Anyway, certain head shops sell it
How did I guess?
because it's you've never heard of it and nobody sells it anywhere else.
So it's like the brown weed of.
It's just not.
they altered the
jerky.
chemical structure.
Yeah, they
right?
have the chemical
Got
structure.
it.
for it, Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
So that it's no fun anymore.
speaking of altering chemical structures, every time I'm in Texas, I just fall in love with the people. If
Nice
y'all could ever get your leadership back to where it was, because it has been good in
We're
previous
trying.
decades. Yeah. I mean, that would be
Like
amazing because, Texas is actually a blue state in many areas, certainly in
Totally.
Austin. And
well,
and-
Austin's a little weird now.
I know.
Yeah, they went hard at all.
I blame Alex Jones.
Well, yeah. Well, he was here a long time. It was really, yeah. Ann Richards, there you go. Ann Richards, she was nice. She's got a really good Ann Richards School for Girls here. It's a really fantastic.
Well,
school.
it was actually Perry poaching all of
It was Perry.
California's tech leaders to
was-
Texas by offering them all those tax breaks and
I've
money.
I told you guys about the cloakroom, right? We can keep that between us, but
Yes, you did, and we're going to keep that between us. So
Yep.
we're getting off to a nice.
Even the cult members in Texas are nice.
No, they're not. There was a terrible thing in
Some of
Waco. Something happened in Waco a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, that Waco thing.
Yikes. Dude.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Texas it's huge, so there's so much shit happens here that's like,
Right.
the guy flew
it's
into
like, I feel the same about LA. It's like
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, I hate LA," but you can't. It's a country. It's not a city.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Chills, right?
like
Chills.
it's the size of
Never go north,
Lithuania
never
or
go
some
west.
shit.
Yeah.
It's like huge.
I love
So-
LA. I do. I'm not leaving it
Yeah.
anytime soon,
I'm kind
if I can help it. Really.
Yeah.
I also love the Southwest, but only because desert skies and cacti. Yeah.
I want to go back to Oakland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's weird because I'm a Bay Area girl and going back it's different. Everything's just so different. Everything just really changed in our lifetimes
Can't
and
go home again. No, I live at home and I can't go home again.
but I do think
Yeah.
that when we actually do get the truth and reconciliation on what the fuck happened in Silicon Valley, I think then we do have a chance of actually seeing the Bay Area return to some of what made it great and some of its roots, because what's happened in the last few decades has been so strange and really sort of, it really lost
Reality
its,
bending.
It's been weird with the Theranos thing too, because
greed bending.
obviously with the fraud
That
that
too.
was committed, I mean, there's been. I mean, how many times has that happened? Over and over and over with businesses.
We work.
Yeah.
Anyone?
I mean,
Yeah.
The whole thing is a pump and dump. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's right.
exactly. She's got.
there are a few companies that end up being basically utilities, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
Amazon is a
Right.
fucking utility for shopping.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
and Facebook is a utility for
And that's
what it does, and vice versa, right?
That's what Tesla wants
Mind
to be.
control, undue influence.
What's that? Yeah.
Mind control, undue influence. What?
Oh, utility for mind control. Yeah.
So
Well,
anybody
It's
who is-
it's true though. You can
Yes.
use it
It
for
is.
that easily,
Oh, yeah.
right? And that's the whole problem, is that we've got this enormous like brainwashing machine, and it's like, anyone can just put a quarter in it.
Yeah.
Like let's
Yeah. Exactly.
go.
Literally,
Yeah.
anybody can put an ad up and get all the access.
Yeah.
To it. Yeah.
Hey,
Well, even more subtle than that, though. How many people in Facebook groups that were radicalized were sent there by a link a friend happened to repost, or
Totally.
Yeah.
something that
I was-
just dropped into their timeline?
Yep.
yeah.
I was just talking to someone. We were talking about Pizzagate and how their friend got wrapped into Pizzagate, who's a Bernie
Yeah.
fellow,
Yeah. That
Yeah.
happened.
total
That
Bernie
was a big.
fellow, and just went flop right into
Yeah.
Pizzagate.
What do you want
That's
to?
Which
right.
he happened to tell me that story on the same day that Mike Flynn and Sean Stone
Yeah.
are doing straight up Pizzagate. It was amazing. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They pulled out Spirit Cooking
Sean
and
Stone?
Maria Abramovich.
Sean
and-
Stone, not Connor. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
Sean
Sean
Stone.
Stone. Not Connor.
Oliver Stone's son.
Well,
That's
what
Oliver Stone's son. Yes.
What we're
Yeah, I mean,
seeing-
Sean Stone he was on my chart like 2 months in. Like,
Yeah.
I had him figured out as the one of the media guys. Like,
It was
he's
him. Yeah.
basically like the pandemic guy. What's that fucking guy's name?
Mickey Willis.
Mickey Willis. It was the Mickey Willis of QAnon, right? He did all that stuff. Yeah.
so
Sean Stone platformed a Kino.
what I'm seeing,
Sean
Say
Stone.
what?
what I'm seeing.
Sean
Yeah,
for-
yeah, yeah.
Michael
Sean
Aquino.
Stone and
Heidi's
Aquino
next.
are tight.
Well,
Right.
We're
Right.
tight.
Vaguely, what I'm seeing from COVID lockdown is a rehashing of all the greatest hits. We're going to sue Hillary over 2016.
Dude.
We're going to bring back Podesta. Jim, you're talking about Pizzagate being back, and Jim, for his Substack supporters, did an incredible comparison of the different factions and all the intersections that they have, and it seemed very clear to me what was actually going on there. But yes, we are having a rehash of greatest hits. These are professional propagandists of which we speak. We're obviously in the kinetic phase of a war, which I am now watching who is profiting off of it.
John Podesta.
Did you see
Yeah.
this? So speaking of, sorry not to cut you off, but yeah, this
No,
is the
go
lawsuit,
for it.
this is the lawsuit that Trump just filed against everybody.
Greatest
John-
hits. There's
Jesus
John
Christ.
the deal.
Podesta's emails.
Andrew McCabe. There
Yep.
they are.
Look at this.
Gang's all there.
John
Fusion
Podesta,
GPS.
it was the guy that they hacked his emails, and that turned
Yeah.
into Pizzagate.
Yeah.
That turned into Maria Abramovich doing Spirit Cooking
This is
because she was
straight-
in one of John Podesta's emails. And now Flynn is doing it today.
Yep.
This is straight Russian propaganda tactics. You suck all the air out of the room. This is distraction.
This is
It's
interesting.
it's a great way for Trump, who we'd like to think, many people have already forgotten about, to throw
Interesting.
himself back into the headlines.
Interesting point there, Reefer Mad. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah.
What's that?
Ginny
Russian-
Thomas.
The
Ginny
Ginny
Thomas
Thomas.
news.
Oh, yeah.
The texts, yeah, those are pretty bad.
Classic propaganda techniques. This is one thing that Trump is very good at. He's a professional propagandist, right in step as among the leaders of that fifth column. There's so many things that we've broken over the last few weeks, guys, that I think are important for us to take some ownership on. Of course, we talked about how as soon as Hi-Fi introduced fifth column into word phrase of the week, it exploded everywhere. We can actually, draw a freaking map. Jim, there's been so many things that you've been previewing day after day, week after week on your Substack that ends up getting into the the news cycle. And I would also like to say that thanks to our middle school teacher friend who doesn't like bullies, I was reading one of his essays yesterday, and I don't know how it flew under the radar, but there was a troll in Manhattan who can claim having misled thousands of Black Americans to vote for Hillary in 2016 with a fraudulent
To
texting
not vote for Hillary.
scam to not vote for her. They thought they did.
Yeah.
And I was so outraged, obviously, because we knew all about the Bannon-Parscale voter suppression of our friends in the African American community in 2016, where they were shown these racist memes of Hillary, told that she was just as bad as Trump. Please stay home. We
Yeah.
know that the 70,000 vote was the differential. So if one troll in Manhattan can actually affect 5,000 fewer votes for Hillary, the Justice Department has indicted this troll, and they have promised to follow through with the, as much as
Douglas Mackey is going to go to some interesting folks. Microchip, Justin McConney, all those guys worked with that group. He worked with Maggot 3X.
it's
Like,
very
it's all one
fucking
big
important.
pit of vipers, and it's going to be super interesting if they keep following that lead, because it goes right to the middle of the beast.
I want to know how many more trolls in places like Manhattan and elsewhere were affecting people's views and narratives.
They listen.
I
I need to remind everyone right now. They set up LARPs on the right wing to do stuff like they did that Heidi was just talking about, to lie to people and pretend to be whatever. And they set them up on the left, and some of them are still around. Just saying. So,
Well,
some of them apparently are giving testimony to the January 6th committee, which is just,
fabulous.
disturbing.
Gotta
So,
get it on the record.
Anyway, yeah, okay, great.
So,
That's
Well,
fine.
if they're found to be lying, isn't that a crime?
Well, it's extremely a crime. Just saying.
what's interesting about this guy, Douglas, who went under the name Ricky Vaughn,
Ricky Vaughn.
who had more
my God,
pull,
from Major League.
who had more pull, yes, and then when he got kicked off of Twitter, then he went under the Twitter handle of Rapin' Bill, and he retweeted Russian propaganda accounts over and over and over again. One account in particular, 132 times. These are the same Russian propaganda accounts that were retweeted by Mike Flynn, Flynn Jr., as well as Don Jr., Parscale.
Yeah, 10 GOP was one of them.
That's the main one I'm talking about. And that MIT lab did a study on the impact that this one account that the Department of Justice, the man who was running it, who's been indicted, the impact he had, and it was greater, than the impact of, let's say, his one Twitter account had a greater reach than Democratic, party accounts, than Newt Gingrich, than the Drudge Report. They went on and on, showing on the hierarchy. And why this is also as important is that he worked with a group of trolls, and they just gave their Twitter assigned numbers. We don't know their names yet, but I think just like when we saw Jack Hannock's arrest, the Fox News director's arrest in London for creating a propaganda empire for a sanctioned oligarch, I think that, as Martin Shields so brilliantly pointed out, that he would have a lot to bargain with. This guy, the Ricky Vaughn account, he probably has, as Jim was just saying, some bargaining chips. And I think that it's going to take time, but a lot of this false narrative and skewing of the narrative that we've been living through, I think we're going to start seeing more clarity. And why I believe that is another thing we need to take ownership of. We didn't do the work, But right after we had Christopher Boozy on our show explaining the single purpose hate accounts that are profiteering off of Meghan Markle, what happened within days? Two of the biggest accounts got deplatformed. And it is a scandal that is still unfolding. It ensnares, some reporting through BuzzFeed. It also, has an impact on Meghan's half sister, who appears to be one of these operatives straight out of some of the profiles that we deal with in our disinformation research. So, in the words of Boozy, as I said, I'm going to be like a middle schooler now. I'm going to say FAFO or FAFO, like until you guys hate me. It's just my new favorite acronym. And if you don't know, look it up. But it's just like, you can't keep on you can't keep harming people, because guess what? Maybe you're not going to be able to profit off it anymore because you're going to get your ass deplatformed, or maybe the Department of Justice is going to come after you, and maybe you're going to go to jail, and maybe you're going to be forced to rat out some of the people who set you up, and maybe they'll ultimately go to jail. But a girl can dream.
Or sanctions will be bad enough and you won't get your paychecks.
Well, that's what we were already seeing that.
Yep.
We are.
It's
Listen,
shrunk. It's
like
shrunk.
it's really over the last
fascinating.
Month, like,
Getting paid in rubles.
People like some paychecks get dried up.
Yeah.
But
Well, also,
I mean,
your work, gentlemen, your work and the work of some of our friends have been doing a lot to expose the techniques. And so what happens is these accounts that once had such a loud bullhorn, suddenly they're all hiding behind locks, deleting all kinds of tweets, hedging their bets, I'm telling you.
Because
it's going to be hard out there for a troll.
They're fucking wrong, and they're paid, and they suck, and fuck all of you. And I'm like, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I have something to say. I am in a different phase right now. I don't give a shit. I am tired of watching these people abuse my friends, abuse me, abuse everybody else.
Yeah.
What I am asking right now, just, to our close friends and family here, I know people have been kind of afraid of this thing for good reason, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing people getting deplatformed left and right.
Yeah.
You're seeing people just getting fucking gang stalked and attacked.
Yeah.
But listen, at a certain point, buddy, at a certain point, like, we gotta see this as an information war and participate.
Yeah.
And so I'm not asking you to do anything you're not asking you.
Jim, you're freezing up, bud.
All right, I thought it was just me.
No, Jim, we lost
Jim, we
you.
just repeat that last sentence, please. You're not asking anybody to do anything.
sorry.
What?
All I'm just step it up.
Yeah.
Step it up a fucking level.
Yeah.
Let's get like actual real information to people. I'm not even talking about us.
Yeah.
Like, when you see people out there bullshitting, like, don't be afraid to say something.
Yeah.
Like, those are the words that we have, and the opinions and the knowledge that we have are our weapons, and we need to use them. Not in a destructive way.
Yeah.
In a truthful, straightforward but fearless way. It's
That's
time
right.
to stop just letting people who are clearly there for inauthentic reasons keep doing what they're doing and hurting people in the process.
That's right. Amen, brother. Amen. And you know what?
That's what
Christopher Boozy told me, and I think you guys can co-sign on this, and he's again with Bot Sentinel. He was our guest a few weeks ago. He told me that 40% of Twitter accounts are inauthentic, and that lumps them all together. And of course, because of the amplification, and because people pay attention to negativity and to hate perhaps more, and because probably part of the 60% is not necessarily very active, there are those who are active, and then there are the 40% that are designed to be actively, but they're inauthentic. inauthentically active. So with that in mind, if someone's clearly part of a single purpose hate account tribe, or if they change their targets periodically, and then if you can, try to get a copy of what Jim wrote today so you can really see how the techniques are laid out and the way that the blue checks will, the blue blobs with the white checks will swoop in to try to give them elevation and try to elevate the bullshit narrative. Take just a minute to study a little bit about the techniques, and you will find it very easy to recognize the authentic from the inauthentic. Authentic generally do not spend 16 hours a day on Twitter trying to harm the people doing the work of truth and democracy. So no matter what they're coming at you with, you know, Jim's a millionaire, Jim's a grifter, Heidi's, you know, right-wing neocon, you know, whatever it is. It's like, it really doesn't matter. You look at it and you go, is that what they're doing? What is that doing to save democracy? What is that doing to impact the elections that are coming up? What is that doing to expose the people who are actually putting out this hate? So exercise a little bit of logic and things become a lot clearer. And also, if someone's just fucking mean and not willing to have a conversation about a different point of view, chances are they're part of the inauthenticity, because in most social situations, if we have something to discuss in a difference of opinion, and certainly between the four of us, we often have differences of opinions, which we discuss in the meetings that advance our weekly episodes. It doesn't come with a, you know, misogynistic cut down. It doesn't come with something that is trying to target in a way that, you know, is going after someone psychologically.
And that's kind of the rule from like online for me is, you know, if you imagine you're in a bar talking to someone, or if you just meet someone in the grocery store, I mean, if you engage in that kind of genuine, you know, mutual respect, then I can have a conversation. But like if you're in a bar and someone says, you know, I don't know about Hillary Clinton, and they're like, you know, fuck her, you know, and then they just completely react as people do online, I would never in a million years continue that conversation. You know, it's not because it's online, it's not okay. I mean, you're still dealing with an individual. So, you know.
People.
I mean, look, there's a simple way to judge it. How does this person make you feel?
Yeah, exactly.
Do they make you feel small? Do they make you feel like a smart person who has something to say and they're interested? Do they make you feel, you know, like an idiot, or like you're in some kind of out group, right? That's when you start getting, when you start looking at it and going, wait a second, why am I being targeted if that's what's happening, right? You don't want to think everyone who disagrees with you is targeting you. Don't get me wrong. But if you're giving an opinion, all of a sudden somebody has a very, very, very strong opinion in the other direction and wants to spend a lot of time trying to convince you, that tells you something. It means that somebody is either psychologically devoted enough to it, or someone is incentivizing them to change your mind. They are trying to change your mind, literally change it with propaganda and gaslighting and psyops and bullshit. Do not let that.
I also think, as Sean noted, I've been doing this work for many, many years, actually my whole career, under one name, my own. And I never changed it because it was convenient, and it's been definitely a burden as an activist in this war to, you know, be so public, but I didn't see any other way for it to make a difference. Hiding for me under anonymity wasn't something that was an option or something I was interested in. And Jim very much the same way as he got into the fight. And so that is
for 24 hours.
Well, what we have is genuine skin in the game, which is why we've had to grow 3 and now 4 and 5 layers of skin to put up with the, you know, continual harms. But I don't really notice it so much anymore because I don't have time for it. So for me, I'm just plowing on. And of course, working in the real world, in the political world, because we have elections coming up,
Yeah.
is also, very real too. So yeah, it's fascinating. But our show launched
High five.
because of disinformation. Let me finish my point because my COVID brain is not going to even get past the next
I'm sorry.
verb. Yeah, like I said, it's already evaporated. Hi-fi. No, I just want to make a point. We did this show because of the urgency of disinformation. It is no less urgent today. Even as I see people talking about Putin and this and that and the other thing, have we not already learned how much of this is active measures and propaganda and just narrative? Have we not already learned to not listen to the media telling you what they fucking think and instead to watch the actions? The urgency for a show that exposes disinformation has I just never been graver. And that's what I tried to get out. We're going to continue to do this work because we are going to continue to see horrors that we haven't, that are unanticipated. And I think we have evidence of that.
High five. What's up?
Okay, so you guys do investigative journalism. I'm doing, I've just been granted access to large data sets of leaked material that involve financial information and fundraising efforts. So this should be fun. I'm
Look
probably
at
going
his
to be.
face. He's beaming. It's
Yeah.
Hi-Fi has data sets. It's like a kid
I know,
on Christmas
it's
getting
like,
a big Lego or something. It's like Hi-Fi has
or,
data sets.
like a crack addict just get a big rock.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
No,
Well, you can see stuff in data that you don't necessarily. I mean, when media is trying to manipulate you from either the left or the right to pull you in either extreme, the only thing you can really trust is data. And, I have some suppositions about what I found in the last investigation into that data. And now I'm going to see if it exists in the rest of it. So
yeah, you're right, Jim. He's just like jonesing. So I think I've talked about this before. I was able to actually watch Hi-Fi do his work, and he is like a kid in a candy store when he is sifting through data and putting together the pieces of the puzzle that actually, prove and evidence what you have already known to be true, that there appears to be a lot of suspicious transactions in these fundraisers. And it's what got you into the war, following that Kyle Rittenhouse fundraiser and then following the network behind him. And I think it's why you're such a dedicated warrior, and we all bring our skills.
Whose data?
Oh, whose data?
Whose data?
Do you want to say?
My data now.
My data now, motherfucker.
Sorry. And shout out to all those security researchers out there who are putting in the good work and finding all this interesting stuff. Apparently, the Russian bank got hit lately.
Yeah.
That's interesting. We know, well, this isn't really a data leak, but it kind of is. January 6th committee has, 29 text messages between Ginny Thomas and Mark Meadows.
Yeah, that's bad. They're not very good either.
No.
What's that old Beatles line? Here comes the sun.
Yeah, you can't. That's
back in the USSR.
As let it be. What's amazing is that this has been such a war for truth. There's no other way to really describe it. And I've always believed ultimately truth does see the light of day. Ultimately, truth is unstoppable. You just can't. You just try as you might. It may take a while, but man, we're seeing a lot of truth bubbling up right now. And it is going to be
Well,
what we
need
is more arrests.
Good.
It's also harder for them with fucking Putin, like turning like Ukraine into Syria, right? Like The ability for people to continue to dance around the fact that, you know, this is no shit a fucking global assault, you know,
Yeah.
not just on Ukraine, but you can
Oh,
see the mentality of the man who's doing it.
oh,
Um, you know,
oh my God. It is so, it is so right now. It is so a war where Putin and Biden are completely like, psh, I mean,
and
we,
and this
yes.
column is just right there now. It's like there's no in between anymore. There's no concealing it. There's no like that's the thing that I keep writing about and keep like trying to get people. And I think Sean, we have that video. Maybe it's
Yeah.
a good time to
It's
show
spot
that.
on. All right, if I comes back, I'll let him in. He's got to read nice though. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Why you didn't kick him out? He jumped out accidentally. No, of course not.
But
He froze.
so to set this video up,
Yeah.
Who is
so hold on, pause a second. This is Mike Flynn and Sean Stone, the son of Oliver Stone, who used to be a decent filmmaker and turned into a Russian propagandist.
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, go watch his 2017 magnum opus to genocidal dictator Vladimir Putin on Showtime.
Don't watch it.
Or don't watch it, but
It's
just
hard to get through. I try to get through.
imagine you were watching someone performing acts on Vladimir Putin for fucking 8 hours. That's basically what is
Yeah.
happening there. Anyway, his son Sean Stone has been doing media and other creative services for QAnon since, you know, more or less the beginning, and is associated with some of the darker characters around the whole enterprise. And so Flynn and Sean Stone, by the way, and this is important, is an I am
Yeah.
cultist.
Right.
He is deeply involved in I am theosophy cult shit. He, like, I don't know if he still lives in Mount Shasta where all of those people are located, but he's deeply involved in all of that stuff. And anyway, here he is.
Do you want to go? You want to jump into the 5 minute mark? Is that what we said?
Yes. So
Am I going to be able to watch
hold on.
this?
No, you should not watch it. So I'm gonna show a very short clip of a man who they're targeting as basically, frankly, a Jewish sort of straw man who they say is in charge of the Great Reset or something like that.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
this guy comes on and says what he says, and then you'll see Sean Stone quickly thereafter come and start talking about Q drops. So
yeah,
this is
help
about
me find
90,
it. I don't have
90 seconds.
I don't have a timestamp, so help me find it. We'll skip through something.
body,
So,
thus
yeah,
technically
keep going,
fulfilling
keep
the
going.
McCain and Bill Gates team up to create their own
This is
race
all
of
like
people.
satanic
The
shit.
Rolling Stone
It's like-
reports Gaga and Marina, and Gaga dipped a spoon
This
right
is all
between the
Pizzagate
artist's legs.
stuff.
And by the way, Marina Abramovich is I'm trying to figure out.
Keep
looks like
going.
DiCaprio.
Toward more.
That's Sean Stone, by the way.
World.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. He didn't like it.
People like politicians in Washington, D.C. You come, and these are just that have no.
How bad
Here we go.
I would
Okay.
just smash him in
Go back a little
oblivion.
bit.
As
Go
a
back
lawyer,
Go back a
every
couple
time I
seconds.
see this guy
little more.
speak,
Eugenics goes. I mean,
There you
there
go.
are
Leave
these
it there.
serious
Yep.
people,
And it's
that have
echoey,
no
so maybe one of you
belief
guys needs to
in a
mute.
higher being. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
every time I see this guy speak, I just think how badly I would like to just smash him into oblivion. As a lawyer, if I sat there, I could just rattle off like a machine gun everything stupid he's saying. But as a human being, it's so offensive and ridiculous. I just want to smack him.
These people believe that they are superior to the human being. I mean, they literally, you could argue that this goes back to the ancient world of the Sumerians, that the beings that were descended from the gods, the Anunnaki, the sky gods, the star beings that came, not the first to have that ideology of superior races. And these people really do believe they are superior to humans, and they will operate under those auspices.
Yeah, I watched the Ukraine on Fire documentary your father produced. Do you find yourself, Sean, just observing the world and going, everybody's going the wrong way? I mean, do you feel like that in the Stone family? Do you have these conversations?
You know what? I feel like I've been awake to this stuff thankfully, since JFK in '91. I was like, there was this new awakening. The Q drops were helping that in ways that people were talking about these things that never would have talked about, adrenochrome and blood. The elites feeding on blood. I mean, all these concepts that would have been so far fetched. It was gradually I watched it come out over time. If it's 70% of humanity that's followers, so be it. That gives me encouragement that there's hundreds of millions, if not a billion or more of us. And that's where actually where I stand at the moment. This is the end times that we have incarnated into this time period for a very important reason. And I think all of us at a soul level have made that choice and know exactly where we stand in this battle. It's a spiritual war. We cannot be deceived by, all the, as they even say, the wars and rumors of wars and everything that's basically being thrown out there to distract our energy and our consciousness from building out something new that we haven't seen in America for a long time. And
I'm very excited about.
No, last bit. Sorry. Oh,
So I thought you said that was it.
no, there was the last bit.
Last bit.
Gotcha.
It's very distressing, Jim.
It is. It's incredibly distressing and
Very fucking important.
Mike Flynn comes in at the end and basically says, I agree with Sean. He's joining our tour. Sean Stone is joining Mike Flynn's
Who is
psyop.
steering?
Here we go. There we go.
Where we had people like
Mute again.
Goebbels or Goering in the days of the Nazis, and there were others. Sean mentioned about the eugenics and how far back eugenics goes. I mean, there are these serious people that have no belief in a higher being.
We are really upgrading humans
Like me.
into gods. We are requiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
Every time I see this guy
Sean,
speak,
pause.
Is that it?
We got screwed up on the time. Anyway, that's fine. We can cut it off there. I don't want to watch any more of these fucking people.
Wow.
So I did a condensed version of that hour-long shit show. And listen, Pizzagate, all the Pizzagate stuff, like I said, Abramovich and Spirit Cooking, all the stuff straight out of John Podesta.
Oh man.
His emails hacked. One of them had Maria Abramovich in it, which started Pizzagate, which was run by Mike Flynn through Mag3X.
Right.
All of this shit is just coming up all over again, and Flynn is just doing it in public, in person now. And the only reason he didn't do it in 2017 is because he was under indictment by Mueller.
Right.
He was in a cooperation agreement with Mueller.
I remember reading that agreement too.
So he set this fucking cult up to do it for him.
Yep.
And it's just really important that we stop screwing around with these dumbass disinformation agents running around trying to tell you it was Ron Watkins. It's ridiculous. Stop it.
Right.
Q was a fucking Russian psyop. It really was. And Mike Flynn was running it, and he's still running it in front of your face. So stop him, please, and arrest him.
You saw Ginny Thomas talking about psyop
welcome
too.
to my TED Talk.
Oh,
yeah. Hi-Fi. Are you there? Are you hi-fi?
Yeah, but I got mad echo.
Oh.
Still?
I don't think so. Which device? Just turn down one of your devices. Come on back, hi-fi. Or just dump out and come back, because sometimes that echo thing just happens.
Yeah,
so I think it's very important. One of the things our team does, and I think that it's something I'm going to do more and more, and I've been talking about this bit by bit every episode. I think it's incredibly important. Today's a great example. Big things happen. Supreme Court nominations happen. Ginny Thomas, text messages happen, war is happening, of course. And so what we don't do is take a moment to get our sea legs and go, what just happened? So I'm just up at night because I can't sleep because of this crazy ass cough. And I haven't slept in 6 years anyway. And I'm reading and revisiting the Mueller report, the troll indictments, the all the information warfare. I have warfare right now. Indictments. And so I keep on looking at Paul Manafort. And I was revisiting Paul Manafort meeting with Kalimnik. And that's when I came up with the fifth Kalimnik, which
Yes,
was
yeah.
my viral tweet of the week, which people seem to appreciate.
And
Because what was the unpaid campaign manager of Trump who had been a Putin employee in Ukraine installing Yanukovych in Ukraine? What was he doing turning over polling data to, the KGB affiliates? You got your finger up?
we might have an anagram for Paul Manafort.
Oh my God. I wrote a
Oh my
beautiful
God.
poem called
Boy.
Maniforting in the Wind, Maniforting in the Wind.
Yeah.
There he is.
Okay.
Let's see what it says.
Anagram.
I don't know. I'm on my
anagram,
phone.
anagram.
I'm risking it.
Okay.
Oh, good. No, you look good. You look good, bro.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see here. Where did he go?
No way. Wow. Wow.
Moanful Trap.
Yeah.
This guy.
I mean, in case anyone's wondering how long this fucking shit's been going on,
Long time.
Putin put Manafort in Ukraine in 2003.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Been a while.
Yeah. Right.
20
Right.
fucking years ago.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this same operation where Putin was going to do exactly what he's doing right now,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's always been about trying to restore the Russian Empire for him. And somebody mentioned Robert J. Lifton, who is a brilliant psychologist and one of the foremost experts on brainwashing in general, says that Putin is not crazy, but he is now in a totalist ideology, which is the scariest.
Dangerous.
I think we're going to talk about this weekend, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk about that more this weekend. But a totalist ideology means that every single thing that you do that you believe is in support of your cause is justified, including mass murder of X number of people.
It is tied into solipsism as well, because in a solipsistic universe, you control everything, and you are the center of everything. It's like when you pick the wrong line in a grocery store. You know you're not in a solipsistic universe because you picked the wrong line. Now you have to wait.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so
right,
it's like the extreme version of narcissism.
Exactly.
Right?
It's blown out to the nth degree. Like you're causing everything to happen.
That's right.
You're
So
involved.
everything centers around you, and so the issue is, like, if that's what you think, or how you think, and you have thousands of nukes, it's why and I hesitate to say shit like nukes are on the table for this guy, but I feel like I have to, because there is no indication whatsoever that he won't.
No, there's not. Of course not.
If he needs to.
I
would like to point out that I found it interesting that NATO released a statement that a cloud of radioactive gas released upon a NATO country would be considered an attack upon NATO.
Okay.
Here we go.
Well, so I'm sure you guys saw this, that right as it became clear that the kinetic phase of the war was happening, oil CEOs cashed out $99 million in stock during Ukraine invasion.
That's right.
Why that's important to me, and I'm looking into it as I recover and I'll get back into the investigative saddle. We know that CNP, the dark money group that finances so much of the horrible things that we are experiencing in our country and elsewhere, is tied in not only with its, Kremlin sympathizers and people like Mike Flynn who are a part of it, and people like Ginny Thomas who are a part of it, but we know that they are also tied into the fossil fuel industry and the dominionists. And what better way to continue to finance things such as whatever the next iteration of CRT, trucker convoy, insurrections, whatever it's going to be, we know it's going to be something, than actually to continue to profit off of fossil fuel, which is so much of what everything we've been enduring has been about, including our information war, our active measures, our hybrid warfare. Putin didn't diversify and is very desperate for the fossil fuel economy to continue to take priority over any changes toward a green economy.
Not only did he not diversify, but some different reporting that I'm reading is that the reason that the military are so poorly equipped is because of the paranoia phase of a dictator had to weaken the military, because that's typically who's in charge of a coup. And so he systematically withdrew certain assets from the military on purpose because he was paranoid of a coup, and then let them go into war completely not fully prepared and not fully armed.
Well, also, kleptocracies don't make exemptions. They bleed. Somebody running a mafia state bleeds everything. That's why he's allegedly the richest man in the world, right? A few $100 billion potential dollars out there. Everything is bled dry. And actually, information warfare, which he's expert at, is very inexpensive. It doesn't cost anything to make these dummy accounts that twist the minds of people.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it does when they're professionals, right? Like,
but compared to a missile,
yeah, totally,
a tank, a bomb,
yeah.
And he has invested in the kinetic psychological warfare and let this crusty, army sort of decay. And I thought the best joke from a Twitter user last week was, now that Putin's fired all his generals, he can call Mike Flynn up from the bench. Mike Flynn has already been called up from the bench. He has been a Putin apologist and defender and a promoter of continual lies about Ukraine openly.
Yeah.
Well, so in the clip there was Putin. Flynn is talking about the globalists and the deep state and shit. And somebody asked him, "Well, how long have you felt that?" And he says, late 2013, 2014. I was like, oh, exactly when you flipped to the Russians.
Yeah.
It was really
after being fired by President Obama.
Yeah, and then half of Sean Stone's video is like anti-Obama shit, like
all the
Obama.
greatest shit.
Why the fuck? Why are you?
Bring it all back.
Obama. Why are you on Hillary? Like, don't you have Biden to?
Right.
They hardly ever talk about him.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. That's right.
I would posit it's because their writers suck, and it takes them a long time to come up with new material.
Thank you so much, Dustin, for reminding me of my COVID brain.
Yeah.
No,
Sean was the first of the four musketeers here to get COVID, and he continued to plow on and show up and
came back too early. Yeah. Well, yeah, man. What do we got? You want to tell us who our guest is this weekend? We are going to have a show, guys. We will continue our regular schedule.
I don't want to tell us.
No,
I don't
you
want
never
to tell
do.
anyone. I never do, only because schedules are subject to change. But I'm very excited. We have another global warrior coming from all across, the world. This one from London, who is very well versed on the type of genocide that is experienced in wars like this, and he also is very well versed on how racism is used to sell political agendas, and I'm over the moon excited. So, yeah.
And do you want to tell our friends here last time we had a guest booked. I guess we rebooked that person for April. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. And
There's a mix up in the scheduling and times, as often happens between Heidi does an incredible job booking these guests all around the world. So time zones become a big factor in the.
well, he was
schedule.
actually leaving for Kiev.
Right.
He's from Kiev, and he was leaving for Kiev on that day. So we will be bringing a massively famous author of multiple disinformation books who actually grew up in Ukraine and is there right now as our guest in April. We have so many great guests in April. I may as well drop a few names. We've got Nancy McLean coming up from Democracy in Chains. Ginger Gorman coming up, who really knows about the painful world of, online harms through trolling. And we're just going to keep being the greatest little show that ever was.
We do say so ourselves.
I know it is. I know it is.
We're gonna have an award show. We're gonna have an award show next
We're
January.
gonna have an award show for ourselves. We'll have
just like the Oscars. I mean,
I don't care if we're the only ones, plus our patrons, who think we're so fly, but I think we're fly. And if you just look at the weight
for Rad Pod, can we have the Dundies?
If you look at the weight of our guests, the Paul Masons of the world, and
Paul Mason,
the Christopher Boozies and the Hardeep Mathuros, and we just,
and the Martys.
I'm stoked. Yeah. And the Marty.
Marty's great.
He's the fifth musketeer.
And Quincy.
Yes.
I would like to say that I am technically a single purpose hate account, because my whole my whole shtick is there are some Silicon Valley billionaires that need to go to prison for the shit they pulled, and I'm gonna do my best to see that happen. So
yeah, it's. I mean, you are remarkably focused on this goal. I have to say, it's a consistency that I admire. It's not obsessive, because you do plenty of other stuff too. But
you do data.
You have your eyes on the prize, my brother. That's for sure.
Oh yes. But I'm sure somebody will call me out for that sometime.
A single purpose.
Before we go.
What?
Well, can COVID Fog Brain Girl say something? Single purpose hate accounts is the moniker we learned from our friend Christopher Boozy, when that is basically somebody's mission, their employed mission, to target somebody like you who might be telling the truth, who is telling the truth about something. When you actually maybe you have a bit of a vendetta, I don't know, but when you actually have a mission to expose the liars and the fraudsters, that's not a single purpose hate account. That's being of motherfucking service to democracy.
I'm going after bad behavior is what I'm going after.
You said it from the beginning. You're not going to rest until there are some billionaires caged, and I stand by that assessment.
Did you guys know? I just recently found out that where Twitter came from, the etymology of that word.
Yeah, you showed us, but go ahead and tell our friend.
It's just from Chaucer. It's from the Canterbury Tales. Yeah, he uses it to describe a bird in a cage, which is the joke. Then is now we're the birds in the cage in Twitter. So
yeah.
I didn't know
I'm the bird outside the fucking cage, dude.
You got let out.
Don't tell me about that.
They throw you out. They throw you out.
Back in the cage.
You're the bird trying to get back in the cage.
Motherfuckers.
I don't know. You're doing quite a lot of damage just from where you are.
They're afraid of me in the cage, man. You fucking cowards.
Well, that's why they threw us out, dude.
They don't want to let you back in.
They're afraid of us.
But I'm so glad that they left the single-purpose hate patrollers to go ahead and hide behind blocks.
They just bounce around in there all fucking day long, don't they? It's like a little.
Yeah.
Like they take the cage and they spin it like a fucking hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fake bird on a stick that they control and poke where they need to,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting. These are definitely interesting times, gentlemen. And I read Dave Troy's threads, and Dave is just he's like one of my generals.
Dave's not fucking around these days.
No,
he's just
the most diplomatic guy on the planet is all out of fucks.
Like, I'm out of fucks. Like, cryptocurrency is made by a bunch of Nazis, and you're fucking stupid, and Putin is gonna use nukes, and
Yeah.
like, shut up, fucking
I know.
deal
I
with
wish
it.
I wish he
love it.
wasn't so right, and you see the way they're sort of softening things and greasing it like,
Yeah.
oh, they'll just use some little mini nukes. It'll be just like a little,
It's, I mean, it's already, yes, like
they're greasing
what
the
do you
wheel
mean?
for
We
it.
use nukes. Who's the only one who's ever used nukes? You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
Right.
All right,
The
guys.
United States, yeah.
That's about it. We got time for. See you this weekend.
Well, all I want to say is no war, fuck war. We need to get beyond war, and we need to look at who's profiting, because the longer this goes on, it means that it's not Putin doing this alone. He's being supported by things that we don't see. So,
Yep.
and
All right,
certainly the fifth column in America.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want more content, go to our Patreon. Check it out. We got a bunch of stuff up there. And then we'll see you this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see you Monday. And pray for peace, everybody, please. Just and arrests and detainments, and that the Russian people take care of their boy.
More criminal charges.